Good morning, everyone. We are so excited at exporTT to bring to you our Digital Skills Recovery Toolkit series, starting with this two-part webinar on generating online content, upskilling your post-COVID-19 marketing playbook. Our facilitator, Tracy Hackshaw, is an information and communications technology and digital economy strategist based in Trinidad and Tobago. He possesses close to 25 years local, regional, and international experience spanning work in the public, private sectors where he has been integrally involved in the design and implementation of several globally recognized award-winning initiatives and has provided advisory services in the area of digital transformation to a range of both private and public sector entities. To improve the quality of the webinar, we're asking persons to ensure that your video is disengaged for the duration of the session and mics be placed on mute. If you have questions, please place them in the chat box addressed to everyone. We will be answering questions at selected intervals, so be sure to input yours as soon as it comes to mind. Polling will also be done at various points in the presentation, and these will be located on the right-hand side of the screen along with the chat box. Without further ado, I will pass the mic to Tracy, who will take over the session. Have a great session, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Just ensure you can hear me. Tanika, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Tracy, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Tracy Hackshaw. Thank you so much for joining us in today's session. Just want to remind everyone to mute your mics because I'm hearing a lot of background noise still. It'll be challenging to speak over the noise. Thank you. Great. So, today's session, it's an interesting concept. We are in a post-COVID world. Well, now that we have zero cases, active cases, I guess we can say that somewhat, thanks to the Ministry of Health and everyone else for participating and ensuring that we are getting over this hump as quickly as possible. Today, we are potentially in our phase 2 of opening up of the economy. And eventually, we will all be back to business. One of the things that we wanted to share with you in this new dispensation, we're all hearing about this concept of e-commerce and going online, etc. And some of you may already be online. Some of you may be thinking about it and going online, how to do it. But how do you separate yourself, differentiate yourself from everyone else? Because everyone is doing it. How do I make my business stand out from the others? And one of the things that we have been seeing is that many business owners who are, in fact, you who are on today's webinar, may not recognize that the greatest asset to their business, especially in the online world, is in fact you, your expertise, what you know, what you can bring to the table. And that is something that is very, very important and can differentiate you from many other businesses, especially in Trinidad and Tobago and potentially globally. And as exporTT's very name suggests, we want you all to become not just businesses in Trinidad and Tobago selling to Trinidad and Tobago, but also selling online globally, exporters. So how are we going to do this today? So we've chosen, I think, what might be a very interesting concept where we're talking about not specifically about e-commerce, but the sort of the other side of this. How can you establish yourself as a differentiated business with the skills and expertise on display to ensure that everyone else who is looking at you understands that you are someone I can trust, and you are someone that I can engage with, and you are someone that I can potentially buy goods and services from. So today we're going to cover these topics. They're not necessarily in the exact order that we're going to cover them, but these are the topics we will cover today. Um, and as you see here, the focus is on blogging and vlogging because for many people, that has been the key to their differentiation. So we all know that you have the potential to go on social media or website and display your products and services. But suppose that you're selling jewelry or craft or selling a service, you're selling accounting services or you're a therapist or I'm not sure, we will discuss that in the polls coming up. How can you differentiate yourself from everyone else? And we are proposing to you that, like many others in the world today, what you do outside of your business, besides just simply showing off your product or service by photos or doing videos about your product or service, you can do content about what you are doing as a branding, as someone who has a personal brand, someone who is an expert in your field, or someone who is good to know or is engaging, someone we can trust. So that's the crux of today's session. And let us begin our first um, mini section, understanding your audience and your personal brand. So we're going to have our first poll now. And this is something that I'm going to unshare my screen to see what the polling looks like. So does your business have a live website already? Yes, no, or an active development? And does your business have an active social media presence? So can we see the poll, please?
Just 1 minute, Tracy.
Sure, thank you. And as we go through this poll exercise, the idea for this
For a sec.
to really participate fully in the project so that we can get a good sense of who you are.
Yeah, we reached out to her because we have recently created the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce in Europe. So I basically wanted to present to her and your company.
It'll be really helpful if everyone meets their mic. I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much. So again, reading out the questions, does your business have a live website already? And does your business have an active social media presence? Yeah, just about 30 seconds left to the poll. So just hoping everyone in the session this morning can participate so we can get a good sense of who's and what's happening. And of course, if you have a live website or it's an active development, I think that's the first step towards getting this whole online business going. But don't be distressed. We don't have one as yet. There are ways you can utilize other channels to drive your business online without necessarily having a website. So don't worry about that too much just yet. So while we wait for the poll to generate, it takes a little time because we have quite a few participants this morning. You'll be able to see the results shortly. Here we are. The results are up. Unfortunately, I can't see them, but maybe someone can read them out for me because I don't believe I can see them myself. Tanika? Or
Tracy, for question 1, we have 25 persons. And this is, does your business have a, what's the rest of the question? A live website.
correct?
25 saying yes, 4 saying no, and 6 inactive, 19 no answer. And for question 2, does your business have an active social media presence? We have 28 persons saying yes and 21 no answer.
All right. And can you give me just quick the percentages? Just give me the percentage so I get a sense of the proportions. Tanika, the percentages. Is it?
Okay, hold on. In terms of percent, we have approximately half saying yes for question 1, and a little more than half, no, half actually saying yes, 50% saying yes for question 2 as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
No
I
problem.
think that's a very good sense of what's going on. So that it's also very interesting that half of our participants today have a live website already, which is good. But it's also interesting half don't. As I said before, it's not. Let's not worry about that just yet. But it's important to understand that um, if you don't have an online presence, that getting one to pretty much get online is extremely important. Which is why the second question is also equally important. Do you have an active social media presence? Now the question is, does your business have an active social media presence? Not you personally. And I think that's something that we need to be careful about. We'll discuss that shortly. If you are representing your business as yourself, which is there's no problem with that, is an issue with commingling your personal content with your business content. And I'll get to that point about the personal branding next. So, is your business have a active social media presence? If your business is equal to you, then you currently are posting what I might call personal items, very personal things that are not necessarily things you may want to show to everyone. From your business standpoint, then you need to rethink how your social media presences are currently structured. And today we're going to attempt to show you how that can work for you. So thank you for this first poll, and let's get into this entire idea of you as a business and what is your brand. So for someone who has done marketing, this should not be unfamiliar. And for those who have not yet, well, this is a little bit of theory in marketing. Many of you who have done, online advertising or attempted to do anything along the lines of going online on Facebook or LinkedIn or even YouTube or Google, they ask you very often who are your market segments. The reason for that is that targeting who you are approaching is the essence, is the real foundation of how you get reach to the people that you're looking to get reach to. Who you're trying to sell and market to. It's not everybody in the entire world, because that would be ridiculous. It's a particular audience or segment who will be most likely to buy from you. So you have to
Just a minute, Tracy. Can you share your screen, please?
understand. Yes, certainly. You have to understand the. Just 1 second. Let me just reshare. All right, are we good now?
Yes, we are.
All right, perfect. So you have to understand who your actual audience is and who you would like your audience to be. That's very important. Who is your audience now and who you would like your audience to be. As we dive deeper into this concept, we're not simply talking about demographics, about male, female, how much income they have, etc., which is something that most businesses should have as part of their marketing database. We're diving a little deeper now, getting into this whole concept for those who might be aware of this from marketing, of personas and customer journeys. What are your customers or your audience or your prospective clients? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their hobbies? What are their dreams? What do they want to achieve going forward? Why do they engage with you? Or why would they want to engage with you? Why would they want to follow you? Why would they want to buy from you? Very important. You have to understand this level of customer thinking, because without that, you're simply like selling air. Just again, for those who have their mics on, I appreciate if you can mute them. It creates an echo and it's a little challenging because I have a headset on. Do you identify with your audience or your customers? And even more critically, do they identify with you? So the real crux of this is, these questions may seem very, esoteric. How do you know this information? How do you get to this information? Well, it really is all about conducting marketing research. And to do that, we're not going to get into that in this webinar today. But a few tips on this: exit surveys from your customers. As customers, if you have a current brick and mortar store, physical location, you'd want to have your customers um, complete surveys after they visit your store, they buy from you. If you have an online environment, online web presence or social media presence, then it'll be very important to conduct these surveys as well, online exit surveys after they come to your physical presence. Another approach you could take is to conduct focus groups, and of course, since we're all social distancing, it's a little challenging to do that physically, but you can do that online. A simple, a webinar like this, utilizing the various tools for who your customers are. Conduct a short session with them and start getting to know them a little better. That's some of the market research that you could undertake. And very critically, secondary research. And by secondary research, I mean just really understanding who and what your market is from looking at data that currently exists. And today we're going to show you just a snapshot of some of that data that currently exists for both Trinidad and Tobago and the world. So this is our very recent data coming in from a company called We Are Social and Hootsuite. There are many, as you can see, at these sources. There are many sources for this information. It's very useful to see, I think, just without even getting into the details here, that the online market is enormous. It's just enormous. Today we're talking about potentially just under 5 billion internet users. It's 4.5 billion internet users in the world today. Global penetration 59% and growing. And if you look at the mobile users, we have just over 5 billion. And on the last side of the slide, just under 4 billion of the population in the world, 50%, just under 50%, are active social media users. And the key word is active. They don't just have accounts. They don't just register for all the sites and go away. These are active accounts. Just under 4 billion, 3.8 and growing. And this translates very well into this concept here of time spent various types of media. An individual, a user aged 16 and 64 spends on average of 6 hours and 43 minutes every day utilizing the internet. Just let that sink in for a while. 2 hours and 24 minutes using social media. We still have 3 hours and 18 minutes using watching television, so that's still important. 1 hour and 26 minutes listening to music streaming, which is also internet use, and 1 hour and 10 minutes using games consoles. And for those who are into this sort of entertainment category, that time is very important as well. Long story short, a substantial portion of users' days are spent online. And if we look at social media, engaging online. What about Trinidad and Tobago? So we know Trinidad and Tobago's population is 1.4 million. The mobile phone connections, I won't overly concern myself with that because, as you know, this is counting SIM cards, and people have SIM cards, in their cars and in other devices, as well as having multiple phones. So let's not worry too much that it's over the population's limit. But pretty much we can all agree that almost everyone on Trinidad and Tobago has a mobile phone. The more interesting category is the internet penetration, which has risen very dramatically over the last few years. 1.08 million of the population are internet users, which is 77%. So right here in Trinidad and Tobago, almost 80% of the population are internet users. And I would say even more surprisingly, if you want to use that, or depending on your perspective, not surprisingly, 860,000 of us in Trinidad and Tobago are active social media users. Again, active meaning they're currently on social media and using it, not just have accounts, which is 62% of the total population. And the last point in this slide is something I want you to take very careful note of. The percentage of active social media users accessing that content are doing it via mobile. 99%. 99% of active social media users are accessing that content via a mobile device. And by that we mean mostly phones, sometimes laptops, sometimes tablets, but mostly smartphones. And that for me is extremely important information because that affects everything that you would like to do in terms of how you generate content, how you position yourself as a brand. People are always on the go. They're looking for things to read, looking for things to view. How do you get in front of those individuals? From an e-commerce perspective, I just want to share this with you. 81% of the population has a bank account, which is or credit union account or unit trust account. So that's quite a large percentage. But only 16% of the population has a credit card. However, 20% of the population makes an online purchase or pays bills online. And you can see there's further information about the breakdown between men and women making transactions there. More men than women make transactions. Probably is a representation of more men than women having a credit card. We believe that will be changing very shortly because, as you may or may not have heard, the Visa debit cards that are coming on stream will now be able to conduct online business locally. So we have the first bank, which is currently Scotia, offering those cards, and very shortly other banks will be following suit, hopefully before the end of 2020. We know that the current situation has challenged the banks with rolling out new products, but the information I have is that that'll be coming soon, and that means that the large proportion of people who have bank cards, the 81%, will eventually be able to conduct business online in Trinidad and Tobago. That's a very big market for you as a potential owner, online business owner, or as an existing owner to understand that your market is going to increase multifold within the next few months. Very important. Okay. Just stopping. Are there any questions, Tanika, on that data or anything at this point in time that you would like me to answer?
No, Tracy, I'm not seeing any questions at this moment.
Sure, thank you. So who are these people? So I have a series of.
Hi, Tracy, just to quickly interject. Mr. Luke asked, internet penetration in Trinidad is over 70%, you guys. Sure about this?
Yes, the short answer is yes, that comes from the ITU data. 77%. And just to clarify what penetration means, doesn't mean necessarily at home. When the people who report this data report it, they talk about accessing it at your workplace via mobile phones, via places like Starbucks and rituals, etc., etc. So that is a sort of a aggregated access in terms of who has access to the internet. I mean, the question is access. However, the more interesting figure, if you want to look at it from that standpoint, just to rest on that, is that if you have 860,000 people in Trinidad and Tobago being active social media users, sorry, and that's coming directly from the Facebooks and the LinkedIns and the Twitters, etc., then you can be rest assured that that data is not too far away from the truth, because people find a way to get access to the internet. So whether they actually are paying for it at home, or using it at work, or using data on their phones, or using it at other locations, and you can go to any Starbucks and other locations like that and see a lot of people with computers out. You can get a sense that that may be very well what's happening today. So I'm not going to. I don't think that that's a debatable issue about the actual percentage. It's just the question of where they're accessing it. I think that's the nuance of the stats. Hope that what clarified that. Thanks for the question. And again, that was something that, I mean, having worked in government previously, we did question those figures when they came out over the years, and we understand where they're coming from. Okay, so back to this slide. Who are these people and what do they stand for? So many of you may know these faces, and while many of you may not necessarily agree with what they stand for, who they are, or what they do, the point is, those who are engaged with these people, to a large extent, they see them as positive influencers. And just to quickly go over who the people are, on the left, I think that person should be no stranger to anyone. That's Oprah Winfrey. To the right of Oprah Winfrey, people may not know who that is. That's Elon Musk. Elon Musk, for those who don't know who that is, you've heard of PayPal. Have you heard of PayPal? So PayPal was a company that, is a company that is the largest payments company in the world. And Elon Musk founded the predecessor to PayPal and then sold it to eBay, along with his partner, and became a multi-billionaire thereafter. He also sold a business before that called Zip2 when he was much younger. And now Elon Musk is the founder of SpaceX, which is a very progressive space rockets. It's literally a rocket company. And they're also putting satellites into orbit to provide internet access to the world, a company called Starlink. And he's also the current CEO of Tesla, which is an electric car company, very popular. For those who understand this industry, the disruptor in terms of electric cars, and it's just Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about for those who don't know what Tesla is. On the right of Musk is Steve Harvey, and again, that's an influencer for those who follow Steve. The right of that individual, Richard Branson. To the right of him, Lily Singh. For those who may be familiar with her, she is a YouTuber from Canada who has visited Trinidad and Tobago quite a lot and been promoting Trinidad and Tobago, even up to recently promoting Trinidad and Tobago in her videos. She has a late night talk show, a little later Lily Singh on NBC, but she came before as a YouTuber, and she does a lot of vlogging. And below, these may be more familiar to some of you. On the left, we have Marshall Montano. Next to him, Marla Dukaran. Next to her, Mal Ducran is an economist, for those who don't know who Mal Ducran is, a Trinidadian Caribbean economist, very widely respected in the region. To the right of Marla, we have Mia Motley. She's the Prime Minister of Barbados, but almost a celebrity in her own right, in that she has, over the last year or two, taken up the mantle of representing the Caribbean at international fora and becoming the voice of the Caribbean on many issues, including climate change and economic issues. And to the right of her is Kes Diffenthal, who is another, similar to Mash Montano, a soca artist, for those who are not familiar with this industry. All of these people here, there are many more. I mean, there are many more of these people, but in their own industries, in their own sectors, are what you call influencers. To a large extent, they may be celebrities. And what they do is that they generally utilize the opportunity of being online to further that influence. So you know them not necessarily only for what they do, but for who they are. And I want to make sure that point comes across. And that's the point I'm trying to make today. They're not just known for being an economist or being a soca artist. They're known for being Marshall Montano or being Oprah Winfrey or being Richard Branson. Richard Branson founded Virgin, for those who don't know, Virgin, which has a lot of brands around the world. But he's also known for being an entrepreneur, just being an entrepreneur and investing in businesses around the world. But what is your personal brand? Now, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, he's the founder and CEO of Amazon, famously said, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room." I thought that very interesting. Your brand really is something very personal to you. It's how people look at you and think about you, objectively or subjectively, depending on what their thought process at the time. Your personal brand is a sum total of what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. It is not something you can fake. I want to make that very clear. We're going to get very personal about this in this webinar. You can't be what people call posers and get by in this industry. You can be called out very quickly. You're going to be called out and then lose trust if you're not genuine with who you are and what you're about. Your personal brand is authentic and it's deep-seated within you. It's a deep-seated thing. And if you get it right, your personal brand will make you stand out from the crowd, shine a spotlight on your expertise, and enhance your value. You'll have an energy and a buzz about you that people can't help being drawn to. So while this is a concept of whether are you born with something like this, or can you generate it? I firmly believe that, like leadership and those things, you're not born with anything. These are things you learn and you can build over time. So that even if you are shy and you may think that wow, I can't really do these kinds of things, this online world gives you the opportunity to simply sit back and generate content that allows you to build your brand without necessarily having to go out and speak on a platform or go on television or whatever. You can do this simply by providing content online and gain that additional trust and respect and leadership within your various communities or various industries. So for your personal branding, here are some key concepts and tips. Be very focused. While there's a lot of thinking about generalism and being a generalist is good, to a large extent, if you're trying to establish yourself as an expert or a specialist in your field, you have to be focused. You cannot go from topic to topic. You can have a broad interest, but you can't, for example, if you are into the food industry, if you're into you're a chef, you can't decide you want to talk about engineering tomorrow as an example. I know that's a very ridiculous example, but it's an example of trying to be focused. You can talk about business as you're a business person. You talk about perhaps types of utensils used for cooking, and I don't want to sound ridiculous, but I'm showing you the various directions you can go. You can talk about methods of preparing food, and making food look good in the artistry of food, as well as obviously simply cooking and how to cook and how to prepare meals. So that sort of focus is important to understand. If you're trying to establish yourself as a brand, do have focus in what you're trying to do. What are you good at? Focus on that and be committed. It's again about the authenticity and being real. You can't be jumping from topic to topic and all over the place with everything. Be committed, be strong, and be dedicated to what your concept and your business and your industry is about. That builds trust. People will come to you if they know that you're continuing to give them content and believe in what you're doing. Be real, be genuine, be authentic. I'm going to repeat this many times. Be consistent. Being consistent, as we just sort of hinted at, is extremely important in trying to ensure that when people look to you as John Smith, they're coming to you to understand this concept. I'm going to look for John's content, to understand what John is talking about in this area. I'm looking forward to his weekly posts, his weekly videos on this particular topic. And more than anything else, demonstrate leadership. Leadership is where you really set the stage, set the example of what you're doing in the industry. So if you are currently, let's say, making craft, you're a craft maker, you want to demonstrate to everyone who is following you or your potential customers that you are a leader in that industry. You know what you're doing about, not just about craft, but about business and about the intricacies of the sector. And I believe that about myself, and I'm showing you that I'm a leader in that industry. So, a note on engagement. People love engagement. Really do. People love to be engaged. If you create pathways for people to enjoy your brand and give feedback, they'll be more than happy to oblige. And I'm not talking here about likes on Facebook. It's about engaging them in the comments, as an example. The comment section of your posts are the most important part of it. And further, if they share your content, that's even more valuable. Sharing content, engaging. As you develop your brand identity and build a following, you'll soon discover that vlogging the right way can give you a much needed competitive advantage, regardless of how saturated your market. And again, this quote is pointing out that by doing things like vlogging and blogging, recognizing that your market may be saturated, don't despair, because by doing these different things that not everyone is doing, you can stand out from the crowd. So we're moving on to another poll, and I think at best I stay on this screen because I think I got confused with the sharing last time. So I'll ask Tanika to read out the results when the poll goes up. So the poll is, are you currently selling goods, services, or both? Are you currently selling or intending to sell online locally, in Trinidad and Tobago, or online regionally to Latin America and the Caribbean, or online globally, everywhere, or all of the above? So I'm going to keep my shared screen up here because I don't want to lose the sharing and the going back and forth. So I would ask Tanika to do what she did last time when the poll is complete and read out the results when everyone is completed with the poll. So as I wait for you to complete that poll, I'll just talk you through this concept of goods and services. Really trying to understand from you if you are selling goods or services, because that really affects what you do online and how you position yourself as an online business. Today, selling services is extremely useful because of the number of hoops you'll have to jump through that you for goods is significantly reduced. So if you can sell services online, you have never thought about it, think about it now, because that is something that is a massive market globally. And by services, I mean project management, how to do accounting, how to cook, as I said, how to make craft, selling training, how to sell services has become extremely valuable, especially in this post-COVID world. Of course, selling goods will always be an important milestone, and I want to encourage everyone as an exporter to not simply buy and sell. I want to encourage you to, manufacture, make your goods locally, and then sell them overseas, because that means you can benefit the most from uniqueness and from differentiation, as opposed to simply importing and then re-exporting. Um, Again, but that's just a tip from me. And your markets, it's important to understand where your markets are, and that affects not only how your business is set up, but how you actually prepare your content. Is your content going to be universal, or is it content that will be um, only for a local market, which I wouldn't recommend, but you can start that way? Or is it going to be something that is only regional, the Caribbean and for Latin America, in which case you may have to look at language it's used, etc. All right. Again, as I remember, I can't see the polls, so I'm just going to ask, are we ready with the poll results?
Hi, not as yet, Tracy. I'm just going to find out what is happening with the poll. Right now, poll 3 and 4 should be up. Can you please give us a minute to put it up?
I won't be able to see the poll now, but are we ready with the results? Yes, I'm waiting for a cue from someone to tell me when I'm ready. Um, I'm wondering from you if you as a business have thought this through in terms of goods and services. I guess you could leave comments in the chat as well. Have you thought through the idea of selling a service online? Has that something that occurred to you? Is that something that you think you can do? So not only as an individual selling a good currently, have you thought that you have expertise in certain areas that you may not have, thought about before? If you are currently a business owner, starting a business, how did you start your business? You can teach people how to start a business, how to set up a business. If you are doing your accounts for your business, you can talk about your accounting skills. If you're doing um, project management and running projects, you can sell those project management skills. If you're doing things like there's a huge industry in virtual assistants now. If you can do executive assistant work, there's a massive demand around the world, especially now for things like virtual assistants, being able to sell those skills remotely. All right, so I'm just intervening, asking, are the poll results ready?
Hi, Tracy. I recommend that we move on. We're having a little technical difficulty with as regards to the polling questions, so we can probably take the poll a little later into the presentation. But you can move on in the meantime. My apologies for that.
All right, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so let's get into the meat of this thing. What is blogging or vlogging? And I guess in the meantime, you can put into the chat so we can get a sense of the previous questions about what you do in terms of your services, selling goods and services. Get a good sense, and everybody can see as well.
Hi, can you share your screen, please, Tracy?
I never stop sharing it. That's some also. Okay, so I understand. Hang on. All right, are we back? Can we see the screen now? Yes. Are we okay?
Very good. I'm seeing these.
All right. So what is a blog? And Google is your friend. So I simply went to Google, asked what is a blog, because I think that's the best way to deal with something like this. It's very difficult to explain a blog except by trying to get a definition. So I believe you can see this from the standpoint of what is a. It's a very difficult definition to pin down. People think it's a website. People think it's a part of a website. But the long and short of it is really content that people write online, I would say, by an individual that is not necessarily written as a news article. So a blog generally talks to experiential issues, very informally in many cases, but can also extend to research pieces and very, very detailed, complex discussions. The difference between a news article and a blog is that you're not a journalist in doing this, and I think that's important. So it's very similar to the opinion pieces you see in a newspaper. That effectively is what a blog is, and just to make life simple for you to understand what a blog concept is. So it's really, if you read the columns by journalist X or journalist Y, or opinion um, individual X or Y, to a large extent, if that individual simply wrote it on a website, and that individual had a website that talked about issues like that, that'd be considered a blog. So it's not really very difficult to comprehend if you could associate it with, let's say, an opinion piece by any one of the authors you talk about or you see today in a newspaper, whether internationally or locally. Just quickly, why is it called a blog? Well, it really came from the word weblog. As you can see here, it's in 1997. Someone decided that logging the web was something he wanted to do, so he kind of put a timeline. And then the weblog concept was shortened in 1999 by someone called Peter Mehul. So it eventually evolved into this concept called blog. Why is it called a blog? It's really weblog. I'm just removing the we from the blog, so it's really a weblog. Just to give you a sense of why it's called a blog. Now, B2B marketers who use blogs receive 67% more leads than those who do not. And here's this critical piece of information. Blogs have been rated the 5th most trusted source for accurate online information. Of course, trusted sources would be things like, research sites, news sites, etc., like news sites like CNN and TV6, I guess, for turn on to CNC3. The traditional media and traditional research magazines or Harvard Business Review and so on, blogs have been rated as the 5th most trusted source. That's very, very interesting that people turn to blogs for information, trusted information. So if you're blogging, you're in a very special category already. Why should you blog? It allows your current and prospective customers to see a more personal side of your business. And as I was trying to hint at before, separating your personal from your business and your social media, etc., is important, but it's also a part of what you can do to bring your personal to the business. So while we may not necessarily want to see if you went drinking, all night at a party, if you are hanging out with your family or talking about, working out in being healthy or whatever it ends up being, there's nothing wrong with having that as part of your blogging lifestyle. Showing the personal side. People want to identify with you. However, we do want to identify with you probably in a more meaningful way than simply knowing what you're doing, but also about what you stand for and what what your expertise lies, where expertise lies. But it's important that people give you as an individual, they perceive you as well as your business. I would like to work with John Smith and Jane Doe because I understand what they stand for. I've read their blogs, I've seen their vlogs, and if I would like to buy from them. It allows you to build trust and reputation in your particular industry and build communities. Again, remember, I'm focusing on this because I want to make sure we understand what's happening here. You need to differentiate yourself from everybody else. How would you do that? By building trust with your existing and potential customers. The interesting thing is that not many people are doing it in Trinidad and Tobago today. This group today has a very good opportunity to immediately differentiate yourself by doing this from everybody else who's just trying to sell online. By adding this to your repertoire, you're going to be building trust, building your reputation, and eventually building a community of trust, communities within your entire industry or sector. And this is not necessarily locally, but also internationally. And perhaps even more critically, it gives your customers more opportunities to engage with you outside of the business, thereby creating more personal connections. So therefore, if you are blogging and vlogging, you are giving your think about if you have a physical store and after they leave the store, that's it. No one knows who you are, that's I've left. By doing something like blogging or vlogging, you're continuing to engage your customers after the fact, not by harassing them with marketing pitches, but by giving them useful content so that they can consume and continue to understand who you are and why they should want to buy from you or trust you. Very important, very, very important differentiators. Again, so what to do in a blog? Be engaging. This may sound like the simplistic thing to say, but it is really important to understand these are the foundational aspects of writing or doing the vlog. You have to be engaging. You should try your best to be creative. Don't bore your customers, with boring content. Be as creative as you can. And we'll talk about that coming up in a couple of slides. Be informative. When they've left that of reading or viewing, they should have felt that they gained value from what they just did. And it wasn't a waste of their time. Once again, be authentic, be real. Demonstrate your expertise. Very, very, I just can't stress this enough. Remember that every time you do something as a business, you have expertise, whatever you're doing, whatever you're into, whatever you're trying to sell, that's expertise that you bring to the table. And people are coming to you not just because you may have pretty things to buy, pretty things to sell, or good services services is actually a better example, but really that they believe you're an expert in what you're doing. And that's important to understand. And linked to that, provide again the leadership concept, what we call something called thought leadership. You want to demonstrate that you are thinking ahead of the game in your particular field or the topic that you're talking about. You're not just following the crowd, you're not just saying what everybody else is saying. You're trying to create something new, something different, something that's appealing. Not necessarily outlandish or eccentric, but certainly that's appealing enough that people say, oh, that's an interesting point that individual has raised. And John has piqued my interest in this particular area of craft making or how to start a business as an example. Now, what is a vlog? So vlogs, well, as it may sound, it's basically the blogs and vlogs are, and I'm not a video I'm showing in my hand. It's the other side of the coin. So vlogs came after blogs, and in effect, it's really just putting what you are doing on a blog, quite literally on video. But it's not as simple as I made it sound. the medium of video is very different. As people who have been, you watch a book being adapted to film. If you've seen that already, you know how different things can be. So a vlog is very visual. People's attention spans may not be as forgiving if your video is not engaging enough. So a vlog is really the same idea of having a personal website or page or social media channel where you are posting videos regularly about topics of interest, whether it be personal things that you're doing, whether it be topics talking about, let's say, about COVID-19 or talking about your business, etc. Also, you could talk about your product or service, and we talk about that as well. But it's not, people don't necessarily come to your blog or vlog to see about your product or service. They're coming to see about your expertise. So again, it's really a matter of understanding, you're not pushing product, you're not pushing service. You are promoting yourself as a brand to your audience as an expert. Building your brand image is a challenge, but one worth taking the time to understand. Vlogging is growing at an outstanding rate for a good reason. People are invested in their favorite brands and the personalities behind them. If you're willing to take a careful look at your audience and remain true to your brand's image, you'll soon develop a company personality with a following that appreciates your brand for being unique. It's all about this differentiation concept about being unique. How are you going to stand out from the crowd? This whole webinar is about this differentiation. Yes, you can just simply learn how to build a website or go online to sell, but this webinar is about understanding how you as a business owner can differentiate yourself utilizing the tools of blogging and vlogging, which everybody else who have learned this have begun to do around the world and have established careers around it. In fact, some people even have moved on to vlogging as a career. We'll get into that as well. Now, why should you vlog? Expressing your voice through video, and this is it's much easier, quite literally, to express your voice through video than in writing and in words. And for many people, it's easier to just say things and have talk about things as opposed to writing things. And that's vlogging is good for those kinds of people in particular. And for many customers or potential customers, as I said, videos are more engaging than written word. So it's different audiences. You're trying to tackle all of your audiences at the same time. Some like to read, some like to watch videos, some like both. Produce both if you can. And similar to blogging, associating your image and personal brand with your business increases the possibilities and likelihood of engagement. This may look familiar because it's the same list of what to do that I was talking about in the blog, just a different picture attached to it. The exact same things. Nothing different. Be engaging, be creative, be informative, be authentic and real, demonstrate your expertise, and provide for leadership. You're doing the same thing just through a different medium. So this is not very hard. It's just understanding the medium that you're working with and trying to deliver that content through that medium. Sorry. So you may have heard about microblogging. What is that? Well, many of you may be aware of this because I know in Trinidad and Tobago, WhatsApp is huge. But let's not talk about the negative WhatsApp, but the WhatsApp for business. So microblogs are effectively short bursts of content that are sent normally through social media. So Twitter was the initial microblog. And for those who are familiar with Donald Trump, President of the United States, he uses Twitter quite regularly. Every time he tweets, it's effectively a microblog. It's a point of view he's expressing. in 280 characters. It was previously 140, it increased to 280. 280 characters or less, you express your point of view. You can also share content, you can share links, share videos. TikTok, many of you may be familiar with TikTok. For those who followed social media back, but not that far back, there was a concept called Vine, a product called Vine that Twitter owned, where you had 9 second or 10 second, I think it was, videos. TikTok is 1 minute or less, but again, you're pushing the concept of very short bursts of content by a video. So it's a very short vlog. And WhatsApp, well, WhatsApp is, extremely popular in Trinidad and Tobago. Again, you can use WhatsApp very creatively to put your information in terms of business information out there, short messages to your customer base about things that are happening today. If you're sharing news or nuggets of thoughts, I wouldn't recommend you go down the other side of it, which is, as you know, WhatsApp can also become very challenging for many reasons, but the fake news, etc. So there's a WhatsApp for business approach that you can take that allows you to do this as well. But essentially, it's just getting very short bursts of information out there to your customer base. That's what microblogging is. What's the objective of your blog or vlog now? This is another poll, and I'm going to ask, can we do another poll now, or should we skip this? This is the final poll. Tanika, should we try a poll again, or?
Yes, we can. Just give me 1 minute to load it up.
Okay, let's try it. All right, so as we tried to do this poll, this is, and we could also ask if there's any questions as well. Do you have separate social media presences for your business and for you as an individual? So separate social media presences for your business and for you. Do you consider your online business and your individual online presence as separate? And that's a very different question. Do you consider your online business and your individual online presence for your Facebook account, etc., as separate? And the third question in this poll, are you currently blogging or vlogging? Are you doing both or neither? It's good to hear if you're doing any of these things. So is the poll working this time, we would think? Is it going to work? Let's see.
Yes, the poll is up and it's 3 questions. So we are just giving them some time. They have approximately a minute again to respond.
All right, so you've unshared my screen. So let me make sure I remember that. So let me take a look now. So again, the concept of separate presences is something that I'm trying to understand from you, because I know today that you may think of the presences as being the same, and there's nothing wrong with that per se, except if your content on your personal presence does not support your business or doesn't support your personal brand. So I gave an example, which is maybe a bad example of going out and having a very rough night, as we would say, and posting pictures of that. Or maybe each one to its own, of course, but is that your personal brand? Are you showing off your personal brand that in that way on social media? And do you want to associate that with your business, or would you rather adjust your personal brand on your personal pages to be more in line with your business, or separate them? There's an opportunity to separate your personal presences from your business presences. And to do that, it's something that you may want to consider very, very carefully in the future. Here we have the results.
Right.
All right, seeing them now. So you have separate presences, 48, so almost half have separate. That's excellent. But the no answer, I'm not sure what no answer means. If no answer means they're not sure, I think I lost. Did I lose the? Tanika, can you read them out? I just lost the results. Can you read them out for me again, please? Well, I reshare my screen.
Okay. So for the first question, well, yes, a little, almost close to half, and no answer, 32%. Do you, for the second question, do you consider your online business and your individual online presence as separate? We have 24% of 69 saying yes, and again, a high figure of unwell persons who have not responded, but the majority have said yes. For the third question, are you currently? 4 indicated they're blogging, 2 indicated vlogging, 21 neither, and again a 36 with no answer. So I'm guessing probably persons were having problems with identifying where the polling action was.
Right. So I think, yeah, because no answer is not an option. So I think no answer means that's just people who didn't respond. I'm making that assumption now. So that's well, again, you can post in the chat if you have any thoughts on this. We could take a look at it afterwards. And again, just stopping here, see if there are any questions, anything that people may want to ask at this point. I've been going on for just about an hour.
Yes, so I have something from Kathleen. She's saying, hi, Tracy. Well, that depends on how much you curate your personal content, IMO, information. Personal content sometimes speaks directly to the business brand you would like to build.
Exactly. I think that's the point we're making. So, depends on what if you are trying to build. So let's say it's an entertainment. If you're referring to that, if you're a Fed promoter, if you're influencer, party type influencer, then that would make sense, I would imagine. So it's time and place, different strokes for different folks. But I was making a point, if you're not into that industry and let's say you are, I don't know, a quantum physicist, just be ridiculous for a second, then you may not want to be showing off that side of your, letting your hair down live. If you're trying to build a brand in a different direction, it's really up to you what you want your brand, again, what you want your personal brand to be. I'm not here to tell you that your personal brand should be this way or the other way, but you should, if you follow those criteria and those again, there's can someone the mics can getting a lot of noise. Thank you. So if you are following the criteria about being engaging, being creative, being informative, showing leadership, then whatever you post on your personal presence, whether website or social media, should fall into line with those concepts. And again, I know this is a quantum shift in thinking. We're telling you as a business owner, the content that people consume from you as a business owner is how they view you as that business owner and why they would want to buy from you. So there's also another question of saying, well, I'm doing it this way and tough. We're trying to show you here that there's another way perhaps of demonstrating how you can differentiate yourself, not just locally. Remember, this is a exporting market we're talking to here, internationally. How do you want yourself to be seen globally? I want you to think about that for a second, because the internet is not limited to Trinidad. People are not seeing you in Trinidad alone. As you've heard many times over, if you're getting a job, people check your Facebook account. When you're going for US visas and they check, all these things are happening now. Your social media presences are the window to the world right now. And in case you're not realizing that aspect of it, you really do need to understand that if you are not making those adjustments to fit into your personal brand, then it's probably time to do that now.
Tracy, I have one more comment for us to take just quickly before you move on. It's from Trisella. She's saying that in this era, your personal and business web presence is one whether you want it to be that way or not. Sometimes your personal page or presence can break your business simply because people do not disassociate the two.
That's an excellent point. Is it Priscilla? Priscilla, thank you. I think that's an excellent point you've raised there. You're absolutely right. And things on the internet do not disappear. People can screenshot things, you can save pictures before they disappear. So no matter if you have disappearing Instagram stories or Snapchat snaps, people can do many things to capture what you've posted. So just keep it in mind. It's something that I'm just trying to show in this particular new wave of going online and trying to be a differentiator, or giving you the option to be unique. You need to probably really look at what you've been doing before, take another perspective in. So that goes on as my screen shared now. Tanika, double checking.
Yes, it is. We are seeing.
Thank you. So what are your objectives and what is the purpose? So the objectives of doing this whole blogging and vlogging thing, putting forward an idea, perhaps putting forward an opinion. If you've done research, even market research on your own business, what's the output of that research? Telling a story. And again, is a very good concept for putting content to life. What about your experiences? Starting a businesses failing, getting online, coming to this webinar. What about these kinds of experiences that you can share? What about training and teaching? Now, that is a huge category of blogging and vlogging. Many of you are doing it, are seeing them without even realizing you're seeing that. Every cooking thing on YouTube is effectively a training or teaching opportunity for that individual who is delivering that content. And believe it or not, they can get calls after for business, for catering, for teaching how to cook individually. Fitness trainers, similarly. Every opportunity to show something that you can teach and have someone learn from you for free, because it's all done for free in these cases. It's an opportunity to gain additional customer, build trust, potentially gain additional business. And again, what do you want the impact of your product or services to be? What value would you want your product or services to have to the life of your customer? And showing off that product or service, demonstrating that value, is a potential category for blogging or vlogging. I wouldn't overdo it, to be honest, and it's not about Omega XL and throwing up how great Omega XL is or something like that. But it's about, you don't want to shove things down people's throats, but you can use the opportunity every now and then to demonstrate how your product or service works, and maybe some success stories, some case studies, and doing it in a way that's engaging and not, just shoving product or service. You're doing it in a way that is interesting and engaging for your potential customers. So let's get into it in creating engaging content as we wind down to the activity part of this exercise. Sorry. One entry point, one starting point for everyone in doing this. This may seem like, what's he talking about? Why is this is hard? You don't have to start by writing, a thousand word thing or doing a video. You can start by simply curating content. And what do I mean by that? If you find that there's something useful to share, a website, a video, and this is something don't mean conspiracy theories and so on, but content that people may find useful and generally that could benefit your brand and ideally your business, why not share it? And in sharing that content, you have the opportunity to write something as sort of an introduction to it. So you just write a very short introduction to why you think this is important. You don't have to write a long 200-word piece. You can share it on Twitter, 280 characters, share it on other social media channels. And that is the beginning of getting into this whole concept of blogging. You can start that way. Research, find interesting content, bookmark it, and share it. It must still be engaging in such that you can continue to have the conversation after you share that content. You can have the conversation in the comments, have people reshare it, and you comment when they're resharing it. And you can then create content on top of that content. What do I mean by that? If you're sharing, let's say, a video, you can comment by a video about that video. There's no need to do a vlog about it, but you can have a simple video comment on it that you can begin the act of creating a vlog by sharing that video about, look at this video that I've seen. I think it's very important for the reasons X, Y, and Z. Have a look at this. Very, very useful. So you begin the process of creating by sharing and by curating. So you don't have to start full hog into the whole blogging and vlogging landscape. You can start simply by sharing useful content to your followers and your customer base. I'll make sure people understand this part of it because you can start right here. You can start this right now. All right, so how do you write an engaging blog? Now, this is not rocket science, and it may sound as if I'm going to be teaching English or something like that, but that's not the intent. The intent here is to just reinforce the basics of writing and creating content for everyone. So first of all, proper use of English is important. Remember the audience you're dealing with. So if you're using the English language, please, proper grammar, proper spelling, proper use of English. Spell check everything. Use the tools. There are tools like Grammarly. There are spell check tools everywhere. Please use those tools and have someone else read your content in advance if you can't proofread it. However, there's nothing wrong at all with using dialect or Trini slang in generating content. Again, depends on your audience. But if you're doing it, don't be deliberate about it. So this is what you're doing. I'm doing this in Trini slang. I'm a Trini. I'm talking this way because I'm talking this way because I'm a Trini. So again, you remember your audience may not understand what you're doing. So while a Trinidadian may understand it, someone in Yugoslavia would know, what is this person talking about? What's going on here? So you want to be very wary of your audience. Again, when you leave this webinar, I want you to understand that your audience is no longer Trinidad and Tobago. Slides I showed you before, it's those 5 billion people around the world who have access to the internet. And those 3.8 billion social media users. That's who your audience, potential audience is. So it's not just the 860,000 social media users or the 1 million internet users in Trinidad and Tobago. All right. Compelling headlines or titles. Now, I know this is a very sore point with some people. Headlines is what is called clickbait, but it's a way to mediate between misleading or dangerous headlines and making headlines compelling. It should really relate to what's in your blog. It should not mislead, because the worst thing you want to have someone do is say, this blog, this thing that this person wrote is not related at all to what the headline. I clicked on it, and it's very different. It's not at all what I thought it was. It's very different. So just ensure that you are really focusing on the content and be truthful about it. Again, be real, be authentic, and avoid baity headlines, yet still be compelling about it. All right? It's better to have short, impactful opinion pieces. In other words, your opinion pieces should not be long-winded. It should be very short and impactful. If you're doing more what I would call complex research pieces, you can get longer and more thoughtful about it. So your opinion pieces, you don't want to have pages and pages of content and ranting about something necessarily. Get it done in 200 words maybe or less. But if you're doing something that's I'm researching, let's say the impact of COVID-19 on the jewelry making sector, or the tourism sector, then that may require some research. There's nothing wrong with doing a longer piece that is well researched and more thoughtful. Also, talk about creative formatting. So, very important, especially if your blogs get longer. You'd want to ensure that you use creative formatting to get the article, the piece broken up a bit. If your blogs are longer than 100 words or 2 paragraphs, I would suggest using subheadings. Kind of keep the idea that you're doing, short bursts, but easy to consume. Use bullets where you can to break up the points if you're making points. Don't densely add all the things together. Very important, break up the text with images. It is never great to have only text in a blog piece. Have a stock image. You can see this particular slide deck has all the images I've used here are generally stock images, royalty free. From a site called Pixabay, Pixabay. You get a lot of free images from those sites, royalty free. You can pay for them. You can pay images on Shutterstock, but you don't have to pay for images. They're free on certain sites. What about using your own? If you're a photographer, you have a good eye for images. Why not use your own images of your business, of yourself? And also use infographics, statistics, and graphs where you can, especially if you're doing topics of more research and so you see where I'm going with this. You're trying to inform individuals about things, and if you're doing that, utilizing graphics kind of helps bring across the point, breaks up the monotony of text, and also helps you with creating that trust and engagement. Now, you also would like to, just publishing content is never only what you want to do. You also want to have a clear call to action. What is still frictionless words. So try and avoid words like buy, or order now, buy now, download this. It's much, much easier and less, what's the correct word for this? It's less jarring to have to use words like get started or learn more. I'm sure you appreciate that. Let's listening to the difference between buy or get started. It's very different thinking. So your last paragraph or your last part of your blog should have something like this, and it's what's called a call to action, and utilize these frictionless words to allow your potential customers to get more information. And we're talking here about giving away things like giving away free, if you're giving away discounts, discount codes, if you're giving out free booklets or offering a webinar, a recorded webinar you've done before, you can do things like that here. And also, quite importantly, if you want your blog to be ranked highly in search engines, ensure keywords that are trending well that exist within your blog as far as possible. So if you're talking about what's the key topic today, COVID-19, ensure the word COVID-19 is in your blog. I mean, these are things that are obvious, I would imagine, to many people, but some may not be aware that these are the tricks that you use to get your content viewed and ranked highly on search engines. Having keywords that relate to the content that you're doing, and you can't just put COVID-19 and talk about something else. But if you're talking about the impact on your business due to the COVID-19 situation, then that is something that would get a hit for somebody trying to make a COVID-19 business, as an example. And you may get ranked very highly in a search engine for that kind of article. Any questions on this? And I went through this in some speed. Any questions, thoughts, comments?
Hi, yes, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right here. I have nothing right now. It would have been answered. We had some stuff being asked. No, nothing at the moment. It's 11:30 though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
creating an engaging vlog. So this is pretty much the same side, again, the other side of the same coin. I'm just showing you one more time that we're talking about the same thing with a different medium. The proper use of English, same thing. If using dialect, let it be deliberate. In this scenario, I'll say keep it simple. Vlogging is not something you want to get overly complex about. Keep it simple. Keep to the point. Don't have too much stuff inside there because it's video and people are easily distracted by things if you get too much stuff is happening. There's an ongoing debate on vlog length. Shorter vlogs are generally more impactful, whereas longer vlogs, shorter vlogs meaning 5 to 7 minutes or less, longer vlogs 10 minutes or greater can be important when dealing with more topical issues. So there's a bit of a debate around this. Do you short or long? And the jury is somewhat out because the longer content on YouTube, for example, generates more revenue. It's a whole different discussion. People who generate 10-minute vlogs and longer tend to be paid more on YouTube if you're monetizing there. But we're not talking about monetizing in this particular session. However, be aware that shorter vlogs generally have greater engagement and attention span, unless you're talking about a longer topic. More, again, creative formatting. So in the absence of things like pictures and so on that you would do in a blog, you could do something called B-roll. The B-roll is actually the idea of having interspersed video pickup, like what people call pickup shots. Of, let's say if you're doing something about your business, you would have shots about your business, you working in your business, not you talking, but just customers in your store. If that's the case. So not just you talking on camera, but other shots of things that are happening. Sort of breaks the monotony of you just talking to a camera. And again, utilizing and inserting infographics, stats, and graphs also important. One more time, clear call to action in the vlog. Same concept, same thought process. All right. So in terms of blogging and planning, what tools do you need? So for blogging, develop an idea, research a topic, tell a story, convey your opinion, relate your experience, and extremely important, storyboard it out. So this is the planning process for doing a blog or doing anything in terms of writing. So these are the concepts that you want to consider when writing a blog and planning it out. And to actually do a blog, if someone have their mic open, can they mute it, please? Thank you. Very echoing mic. Thank you. So in actually doing a blog, again, trying not to state the obvious here. Old school, pen, pencil, paper, fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But you do need to get it onto a computer after. So ideally having access to a computer, if not a tablet, and if not a smartphone. So there should be no excuse because you can type on any of these devices, on any of the applications that I'll show you shortly. You can use voice notes and speech to text to help you along with your process. So if you have an idea, go into your phone and just dictate something, and you can use speech to text to have it, written up after, or at least you have it recorded for your future use. In vlogging, again, very similar. I spoke about this in the blogging part, but the difference here is that you have to find an environment to record in. What environment do you record this in? Are you going to do it home, outdoors, in a park, or you're going to do it on the move? You have to figure out where is the best place to do a vlog. And what you need to do a vlog. Things that you currently have will work well. A good smartphone camera will work. A small tripod. You can use a cup, cut a Starbucks cup, and put the phone landscape in it. You can use a selfie stick, worst case. Buy a mini tripod on Amazon or in a store locally. You need good lighting, well-lit environment, very important. Don't do dark vlogs. Lighting is very important. Avoid lots of background noise. Try and avoid vlogging at Starbucks or KFC, be honest, if you can avoid it. And you need some basic video editing software. So this is where the little trick comes in, that you need a little more than just writing like a blog. But the good news is that YouTube has a free video editor built in that's very easy to use, and there's a lot of instructions for a lot of help along. Another tool called Vimeo as well. As you can see, they're all linked, so you can get them. Click on these when you get the presentation to see what I'm talking about. And there are a lot of free tools out there. I've just listed them for you. And of course, there are paid tools that you may have heard about. But these are very high-end tools that, if getting into vlogging as something more, more in depth, then you may want to go into the paid model. Where can you blog? I provide a list of potential sites. So pretty much everywhere that has a space to write is where you can blog. The most popular ones today for businesses are LinkedIn and Medium, right? And you can also blog on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. As I said, those are you get the microblogging at that point. Blogger, which is a platform that Google owns, allows you to create an individual blog outside of social media. So you don't have to have social media to do this. You begin to so you're basically getting a website, a free website with this. Tumblr, very similar. And then the next set of sites or locations are effectively building websites with your blog as a base. So we start Pistachio, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, which are a merge of websites and blogs. Many of those are free or have free tiers with advertising that is built in from the platforms. As you pay, you can get advertising removed. And you can also use if you have a company that you work for, or your company, obviously, or even a university website. So if you're currently in university, in school, at Lockjack or at UE or wherever, you may get an opportunity to blog right there on their websites. And just ask. There may not be a problem in getting that done. Where can you vlog? YouTube, Instagram, including live, those who know what live is, and Instagram TV is where you get the longer videos being posted up to 10 minutes. Facebook, including their live and their watch. Twitter, Twitch, Vimeo. So all of these platforms have opportunities for you to post your vlogs very easily without payment. And of course, you can utilize the exact same blog sites I mentioned before to link to your vlogs accordingly. So you can, on the blogging sites, you can post vlogs. I hope I'm not confusing you there, but you can simply use Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress to actually post your vlogs as well. I know time has run out on us, so I would just want to demonstrate for you the idea that on the idea of looking at impactful blogs and vlogs, there's a lot of examples that I can show here. All of these are clickable, so you can click on these when you get the site. You click on them, and you can move on to see what I mean by impactful blogs and vlogs. So what we showed just now was Sheryl Sandberg, who wrote a vlog for the Wall Street Journal, very impactful. Richard Branson, and this is a very popular blog for women called A Cup of Joe. Many of you may be aware of this, run by somebody called Joanna Goddard. Very, very popular blog for women. This is the idea of using LinkedIn as a blog location. Bill Gates, who's the owner, the founder of Microsoft. Microsoft owns LinkedIn, uses LinkedIn very heavily for his blogs. And you can see by what I've circled there, he gets a lot of engagement. So yes, 103,000 in reaction, 245,000, but 9,000, almost 9,000 comments. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for comments. That's the engagement you're looking for. Once your content is useful, you get a lot of comments on it. That's where the engagement starts. And you can respond to comments and keep the conversation going. at that point. Again, I know we don't have time for this, but when you get the slide deck, you will see these videos that demonstrate for you what vlogs look like. This particular one is from a very young person called Marquez Brownlee. I've linked for you here the one that showed us 1 million subscribers on YouTube. In this particular vlog, I wanted to show you this because he started from very, very, very small. Just to run it quickly, show you what it looks like.
All right, welcome to my first video.
As you can see there, he started very, very young with a very basic approach to blogging. And if you visit his site, in fact, if you this video, you see how much he improved further down. So you'll see the quality
intentionally try to make much better videos. I've said it in interviews I've done, and
they've obviously grown up. So you see that you can start very, very basic and move up even better. And even this particular vlog, which is his 10th million subscribers on YouTube, you'll see even more enhancement of the quality of his vlogging. So that's important. So take a look at this when you get this deck. So I put other examples here for you. Take a look at, and this is one for Lily Singh doing Carnival. What about local or Caribbean vlogs or blogs? So this is an example of somebody called Gabriel Hussain, who's been blogging on The Conversation. There's a project called Global Voices. We have someone called Amlika Sanatan blogging on COVID-19. Solange Cross Mike blogging on COVID-19 again. And Daphne Ewing Chow, who's actually based in the Cayman Islands, I believe. And she's been blogging on Forbes. It's very, very impressive. And this is an example of what I've been doing. So I just want to show you that I myself have been doing a bit of blogging and etc. So I've had some content getting some traction. So just an idea of what you do as well. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so that you can connect with me there and see what's been happening there. In terms of local vlogs, this is one from JD. I'm with him about starting a business. Now this JD's vlog is extremely long, 15 minutes, but it's also quite entertaining. This is another vlog from somebody called Devon Scott, who has been talking about making money on YouTube. But the quality of his vlogs, again, international level. And he's one of those, like JD, who speak in the local dialect, so you can take a look at what he's been doing. Very, very straightforward. Don't let it be of great worry to you that you're starting off slow or limited. You can do it this way. And this is someone called Chantal Juman, who, if you go through what she's been doing, you would see that she's a beautician, a lash artist. And she started off very, very basic, talking to a camera in front of basic background. And then I showed you her 3 improvements. So she improved in improving her environment. And eventually she did moving up, I think last year, to doing much more professional and enhanced vlogs. So that, again, starting simple and building up, very important. You don't need to overly concern yourself. I want to start with a basic smartphone camera. I can do that now. Don't worry. Just get going. Just get going. It's simple as that. Eventually, you'll get the hang of it and you'll improve. And to do that, I just want to show you this last one, which is, I really want you to take a look at this when you get the deck. This is from Jamaica, Debbie Dongayard, and she speaks
Hi everyone, it seems as though we are having some issues with the video. My apologies for this. So let me just find out on Tracy's end what's happening, okay? Thank you.
Hello, hello.
I'm hearing you, Tracy.
You're not hearing me, or you're hearing me?
I am hearing you. You can go ahead and share your screen again and go back to the video. Thank you.
All right. Where was I? Where was I lost? I don't know, because I thought I was I was talking for
Just
some.
had the vlog from Jamaica.
Oh, that's when I got cut. Okay. All right. All righty. All right. So I was saying that this is actually the end. So I was saying that I'd encourage you to take a look at those vlogs, especially the one from Jamaica, which has a lot of dialect built in, and it's very engaging from the standpoint of different from what you may have seen in the other videos that I would have demonstrated so far. We reached a point for questions and answers. So I was asking Tanika if there are any questions and answers at this point in time. And if there are, I'll answer them now. And if not, we will go to the assignment which Tanika will help introduce.
I do not have any questions at this moment. Earlier on, Chan would have made a comment. Okay, in his comment, he indicated, in my experience, vlogging always attracts more engagement. So yes, he agreed with the vlogging that you spoke about, Tracy.
All right, thank you, Chan, for that input. I
Any
appreciate
other
that.
questions or comments for Tracy at this time?
And remember, you're gonna get the slide deck afterwards, so you can feel free to peruse all of the videos, and you can get the links to the blogs I was referring to there. So this is something you can't really demonstrate, I think, online, as well as you taking it offline to take a look at it. And if there are no other questions, Tanika, I'm going to move on to the assignment. And so for those who are really interested in going forward with this project, as you know, there's a part 2 of this webinar on Wednesday. I'm going to ask that you take a look at this assignment and ideally do both parts of it, produce a simple blog and produce a simple vlog. I'm not gonna read it out there for you, but it's gonna be in the takeaway that you're gonna get. The idea is to produce very simple blog and vlog from what you've learned today and submit it to exporTT. And then I would give feedback, and we would discuss that feedback and work through some deep diving on this, perhaps even comparing it with some of the other videos we talked about at the next webinar. So Tanika, maybe I could leave it to you to talk about the next steps for this and the assignment.
Okay, no problem, Tracy. So let me begin by thanking everyone. I'm getting some feedback and the mics be turned off, please. All right, so thank you for participating in the webinar today. Remember that part 2 of this session is next Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. As Tracy mentioned, an assignment, well, is on the screen right now for you to take note of. I would appreciate if all submissions can be handed in by Sunday, the 24th of May by 8 p.m. so that we can give Tracy ample time to review, provide feedback so that we can have a wonderful session on Wednesday. Those submissions can be sent to training@exporTT.co.tt, and I would forward to Tracy. I would also forward you an email so that you can know which email address to send it to. So now that we have close to 67 persons on board this session, it is impossible for Tracy to review all 67. So we have narrowed it down to the first 25 submissions. So I urge you to take advantage of this opportunity where Tracy will be reviewing. He would give feedback and everything on your vlog, on your blogs. So take this opportunity, submit your blogs, submit your vlogs, and get feedback from Tracy. Thank you again, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day and see you on Wednesday. Hi, Tracy, are you there?
I'm here, yes, yes.
Right. I have a question in terms of the format for the assignments. This is coming from Eastland.
All right, is my screen still shared? Are the people seeing my screen?
Yes, it is. Well, I'm
right.
seeing it. Is everyone else seeing it? You can just type in the chat box.
Yeah, so it's so the format is pretty much there. You have to use the content that we talked about in this webinar to generate the blog and the vlog. So what I'm doing here is giving you the guide how to generate the assignment. So if you look at question 1, this is things for you to map out. What is your business? Who your target audience is? Identify the areas of interest for your audience. And what are the topics you want to talk about? This is not in your blog yet. This is just mapping this thing out as an example. Then literally map out your blog. The headline, the introductory paragraph, the meat and potatoes, and then summary or conclusion and call to action. And I'm suggesting that your blog be 200 words. Now remember we talked about the blog being broken up with infographics and images, etc. The idea is to use what the webinar discussed to generate the blog. Same thing for the vlog. I really would be intrigued to see what your vlogs look like. Again, please do not be intimidated. A smartphone camera, a Starbucks cup with cut out at the top is all you need to put up your your camera as a tripod. Actually, in the slide deck, I gave you a link to a DIY tripod video, which shows you could use paper clips, you could use those bulldog clips that you have in the office. You could use anything, even your phone case can be a tripod. If you cut the case and put it, lengthwise. So don't be alarmed. It's nobody's here to critique the quality of your vlog. It's really about the content within it. So I think that's important. And again, similar, map it out, storyboard it. Choose a location that is, very useful for what you're trying to bring in. And thereafter, you'll be able to send that along. Ideally, you would upload it to YouTube, or you can send a file. It's up to you. But I think using the tools I've showed you in the webinar is part of the assignment. So look at the look at the webinar, use the tools. Let's see how good you can follow those the guidelines given, and let's talk about it in the next webinar thereafter. I think that's helpful. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, that is.
All right.
Remember, we're looking forward to seeing submissions. So get working.
Yeah, please submit because otherwise there'll be no nothing to talk about. Yeah, please help us with this. Submit your submissions, your blogs and your vlogs, and I'm sure you can get some really good. We are Chinese, man. You can get some good content in there.
Definitely. And as I mentioned in the chat box, the presentation along with the assignment will be forwarded to everyone for you to be able to start your assignment by today, hopefully, okay? Thanks.
Share my video. So bye all. You're seeing me. Bye. Hello.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great time. Bye.
Tracy, can you hold on until everyone leaves for us to meet?
Sure.
Thank you.
Bye.